In this video, I just want to talk about the current state of the remote job market, specifically the entry level. The majority of people who are already currently working in remote jobs haven't applied for any entry-level remote jobs in the past 2, 3, 4 years. They have no idea what it's actually like out there right now. So I went from being unemployed for 16 months to landing a remote job in 2024, making over $75,000, and I didn't have any previous experience or a relevant college degree. I want to talk you through my entire process from someone who has actually landed a remote job in the last year and is now working from home making great money. I think I have some pretty fresh insights and opinions, and I'm going to give you the 3 things you need to do if you want to get an entry-level remote job. And I'm going to talk about the job market as a whole from the perspective of someone who actually went through this process recently. Can you even get an entry-level remote job without experience in 2025? Reddit will tell you no. They'll say remote work is dead. Companies are calling everyone back to the office, and you need years of experience for anything decent. TikTok will tell you yes. Everyone's making 6 figures working 2 hours a day from a beach in Bali. What's the truth? Can you get an entry-level remote job with no experience? In my experience, yes. In 2025, there are still remote entry-level jobs. It exists. I'm living proof of that. I went from being unemployed for 16 months, nearly lying about my background, to landing a remote role in just a month after applying once I figured out the right way to go about it. Whether or not you make it into a remote job, that depends on a lot of different things, the majority of which are in your control. But is it possible? Yes. Absolutely. I believe there are some golden rules that apply to anyone and everyone trying to break into a remote job. And I think across the board, there are rules and strategies to this game of getting your first remote job. I'm going to give it to you straight, 100% honest about my experience going from someone with no experience to getting my first remote job and everything I would say if I were talking to myself a year ago. The first important thing I had to do to get a remote job was shape my mindset. You gotta realize that those salary numbers, the availability of jobs, the work from anywhere lifestyle, a lot of that was probably lied to you by schools, social media, boot camps. When I started, I had all these expectations of timelines that make it harder. I had to leave my expectations at the door. I was 34 years old with an MBA and a bachelor's degree in communications, thinking that should be enough. But employers don't care about your degree as much as you think they do. College didn't help me land my job, and instead, it led to me being unemployed for 16 months, spinning my wheels. The first important thing you have to ask yourself before you do anything, do you even know what you want? Like, what's the job title that you want? Is that job title entry level? Do you even know what remote jobs exist in this field? Like, have you actually looked in depth and watched day in the life videos or read about what people actually do in that job? You can't apply too narrow with the specific job you want, but you also can't spray your applications everywhere and go too broad. You need to figure out what is the actual job title you're going after. What kind of skills does that role require? Then you need to tailor your resume and become a good candidate for it. For me, that job was tech sales, specifically a business development representative. I discovered this job through TikTok from a recruiter, and when I started researching it, everything made sense. It was remote, it paid well for entry level, and companies were actually hiring people without any experience if they had the right training. But here's what I wish someone had told me. You need to get really specific about what you want, but also be flexible about how you get there. I thought I wanted a communications job, but what I really wanted was a remote job where I could use my people skills and make great money. Tech sales gave me that, even though it wasn't originally what I thought I wanted. The second thing I had to do to get an entry-level remote job was to get good at getting a job. You need to have a sharp resume. It needs to be formatted well. It needs to communicate clearly that you are a good candidate for this exact job. That's your very first impression and how you're going to get your foot in the door to actually talk to people to get an interview. Then you need to know how to sell yourself. You need to know how to answer questions that you don't know the answer to. For any human on planet Earth who's trying to get hired anywhere, these are the skills you need to get a job. And that does not exclude remote work. If you take nothing else from this video, I think the single greatest thing impacting whether or not you're successful in getting a remote job is how many jobs you apply to. This is your direct correlation to improve your chances. It's a measurable, quantifiable thing. Apply to this many, your odds go up by this much. But here's the thing. I didn't just apply online. I applied online and I networked on LinkedIn. I messaged a few people at companies I was interested in. One person referred me and helped me throughout the interview process. I got rave reviews during my interviews because I came over prepared with specific examples and stories from my past experience. Based on my experience, you send out applications and most of them are gonna get no reply, a late reply, or maybe even a negative reply. You always have to remember that all it takes is just one application to get you that remote job you've always wanted. One of the biggest things that impacts your chance of landing a remote job is being flexible. Be willing to do the kind of work that others aren't. Take a more entry-level salary just to get your foot in the door, or work hours that might not be ideal for you now, but that doesn't matter since you just need to land your first remote position at this point. If you can be more flexible and versatile with that, it gives you a much bigger field to work in and actually find and get something. Number 3. Be the best candidate. You need to set yourself apart. You need to be the top candidate because at the end of the day, they're going to go with the best candidate, the best fit in their eyes. You have to be the best choice. You have to make the most sense. Something about you has to make you better than the rest. Those first two can be applied to anyone trying to get any job pretty much. But this last one, number 3, you need to be the best candidate, and I want to talk about what that means for a remote entry-level job. Even with my MBA and bachelor's degree, I wasn't getting anywhere in 16 months. I had to become the best candidate differently. Here's the thing that most people don't understand. Your college degree doesn't make you the best candidate anymore. Not by itself. From my experience, there are 4 things that matter that make your value as a candidate. But here's the kicker. They're not in the order most people think they are. Number 1 is your network or who you know. Number 2 is your experience or what you've done. Number 3 is the skills and what you can actually do. And number 4 is your education and certifications, your credentials. For your network, you've got to reach out to people and let them know you're applying. That LinkedIn networking I mentioned, that's what got me the referral that led to my current job. I messaged someone at the company, we had a good conversation, and he referred me to the hiring manager. For your experience, try to get anything you can. This means an internship, entry-level job, or even doing a project for free if that's what it takes. For skills, you need to learn what employers want. This means matching your education to job descriptions. And lastly, your credentials like a college degree or certification. In my experience, this hierarchy is also the order of value. So an employer would take someone with a college degree or some certifications over someone who had none of these because they had more education. But they would take someone with skills and projects over someone with just a certification because those skills can demonstrate that you can actually do what is required of the job. Work experience trumps all of that because that means you've actually gotten paid to do this before. So you definitely know how to do what we're asking. And then more than that, sometimes it's the person who knows the hiring manager who gets the job over all the other candidates. You have to do whatever you can do to be the best candidate. You have to be the top candidate. Set yourself apart, go through these areas and figure out where you're lacking, how you can improve. What matters even more than all these qualifications is that people know you exist and want the job. You can be the most qualified person with the most experience, but if no one knows you exist or sees your resume, then you won't get hired. I personally didn't have any of the things on this list when I decided I wanted to land a remote job in tech sales. I didn't have previous tech sales experience. I didn't know anyone in the industry. I was starting from absolute zero at 34 years old. I had been unemployed for 16 months with a pay gap in my resume. So what did I do in order to become the best candidate? I decided I would take an online course that would give me the certification and the skills employers were specifically looking for in an entry-level remote jobs. I ended up choosing Course Careers Tech Sales course. I started it on January 2nd, 2024, right after discovering it through that TikTok recruiter. It taught me everything employers wanted and even how to set up my resume, LinkedIn, and network my way into companies to land interviews. This gave me the network, skills, and certification along with having the right mindset and confidence to get a job. The information in Course Careers was very specific to the job I wanted. It really gave me all the skills employers were looking for. If you want to do the same course I did to land a remote job too, I highly recommend Course Careers. It was really the game changer for me and allowed me to land my job without wasting time trying to figure everything out on my own. They have a free course you can go through. I'll include the link to it down below. Another question I see people ask is, do you need a degree to get into the field? In my experience and opinion, no. I have an MBA and bachelor's degree, but employers don't care about degrees as much as skills and relevant certifications like Course Careers. College didn't help me land my job in tech sales. This leads me to my final point, which is the current state of the remote job market. Honestly, it's not easy because there's a lot of competition, but there are still companies that are hiring and will give you a chance. It all just comes down to choosing the right job that is in high demand and following the advice on being the best candidate. In just over a year, I've been promoted twice now, both with salary increases. Now I work from home with flexible hours, unlimited PTO, and my company shuts down for a week every summer. I travel more, I upgraded my car, and most importantly, I'm actually happy. I love what I do. Be the best candidate you can be. Do everything you can, and honestly, if you don't give up, then you'll land a job. It took me 16 months of unemployment and desperation to find the right path, but once I did, it only took me 1 month to land my first remote job. You can do it too.